Hey, my name is Mike, and this is a too long didn't read guide for Xavius on normal and heroic. This resource bar is your nightmare corruption. Certain things that happen in this fight will apply corruption to you. At 33 corruption, you and anyone else who has this much corruption will see these big swirlies. The further away you are from them, the less damage they deal. At 66 corruption, you and anyone else who has 66 corruption will start to see these small swirlies. At 100 corruption, you get a damage buff for 20 seconds, and then you become mind controlled. At 95%, half the raid will be put to sleep. At 60%, the other half will be put to sleep. If you die in here, you'll just wake up and continue the fight. People will be asleep for a few minutes or until they die. If you die while you're asleep, you'll just wake up and continue the fight as normal and not in the dream. Any corruption you obtain while you're asleep does not transfer over to when you're awake. All your cooldowns also reset when you wake up, excluding Bloodlust or Heroism. So the goal in Sleep phase is to pop all your cooldowns as often as possible and get to 100 corruption so you get that damage buff. If you get 100 corruption while you're asleep, you will not become mind controlled after 20 seconds, you'll just wake up. In phase 1, Xavius will put a permanent dispellable dot on the tank called Darkening Soul. When this is dispelled, the tank does AoE to anyone within 25 yards and the dispeller will get corruption and also take some damage. Our tanks move to the edge of the room and then had someone from the sleep phase dispel them. These lurking corruption adds spawn under a random player and fixate someone. The first person that it touches will destroy it, causing it to do AoE, and that person will get corruption. People in the dream need to be getting in front of these, so they are soaking these. These should be soaked by a ranged DPS. Nightmare Blades is put on 2 people, indicated by the red arrow above your head. Get this out of the raid immediately. Manifest Corruption will do raid-wide AoE and spawn a corruption horror. This ad has a frontal cone that gives you corruption. It also does an AoE Nova that gives corruption to anyone near it. My guild had all the DPS switch to this regardless of whether they were asleep or not. At 65%, phase 2 starts. Xavius' abilities from phase 1 do not happen in this phase. This circle is Corruption Meteor. Everyone should be stacking in this as the damage and the corruption it deals is split amongst everyone that's hit. Bonds of Terror will link 2 players together. It'll deal damage to them until they are 3 yards within each other. This does not happen on normal. Kill the inconceivable horror ads that are spawning out of the walls, and make sure to soak the puddle that they spawn within 15 seconds or they'll just respawn. These ads can be stunned if needed. As often as possible, these should be soaked by any DPS that is asleep. Nightmare Infusion will make the boss's melee hits generate more corruption on the player it hits. Blackening Soul is a stacking dispellable dot put on the tank. At around 3 stacks, our tanks would swap. The tank with the debuff would get out of the raid and then get dispelled by someone within the dream. When they are dispelled, they get the blackened debuff, which increases the damage they take by 150%. They will also spawn a pool underneath them that needs to be soaked, or an inconceivable horror will spawn. At 30%, phase 3 will start. Xavius will once again do Nightmare Blades. He will do Blackening Soul, Nightmare Infusion, and Corruption Meteor from phase 2, and he spawns a whole bunch of ads. If you see any of the inconceivable horrors, kill them immediately and soak the pool. Otherwise, ignore everything and just burn the boss, popping all of your offensive cooldowns. Defensive cooldowns need to be used in phase 3. In this phase, you'll see a lot of people get mind controlled, so make sure to kill them before going back on Xavius. That was a too long didn't read guide for Xavius. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a terrific day.